We're going to look at the inventory system and how it interacts with our dialog system. So the dialog system is really what reveals all of the sort of like states in Bitsy. There's no real graphics to show us what the score is or what level we're on. So everything gets revealed through dialog. And so we can keep track of things like items that the players collected and special items or our own variables. And we can use those values or states to change the outcome of our dialogue. So we'll just do a couple quick examples using what I've got set up here. There is a lot of different things that you can do with this, so we won't have time to cover everything. But what I'll do is try to cover a couple different examples quickly, and then you guys can sort of apply the ones that you think will be good for your game and explore them further. So let's continue working with our cat dialogue. And we'll start with the items because that's sort of already kind of built in. And what we'll do is we'll basically unlock a different sort of dialogue option if we have collected, a certain item. So we'll just use the defaults here. You can see we have two basic items that are kind of built into Bitsy. One is this cup of tea, and the other is a key. I encourage you guys to, create your own items, but I'm just going to use the defaults that we've got in here for the demo. So what we can do is have our cat, respond to the player based on whether or not they've collected one of these items. So to get started, we can add and go to lists. So where we're going to get into this branching or into our inventory is through branching. And so when we create a branching list, this means we create options in our dialog tree that are based on different conditions. And so this is getting more kind of into programming concepts. In programming, we have to make a lot of decisions, and we do that using what's called a condition. And to evaluate a condition, we basically look at a property like our T inventory, and we compare it to a number or other pieces of data. And so I like the way this is set up because it's sort of visual, but we can edit it. So if I click on this, you can see we have a lot of options to edit it. We can also, whoops. Okay, I deleted the whole thing by accident. Let's add it again. Okay, we can also, of course, go to our code, and we can see how it's set up in the code there. So we can edit it on the code side or on the visual editor side, either way. But let's stick with the visual editor side. And here we see this phrase. So we say if the T is in the inventory equals 1, then we'll get a certain dialog. So this condition will only happen if we have one T exactly. And so let's look at how that works, and then we're going to make some adjustments. So I'll have the cat say, I see you have a tea cup. Can I have some tea? So the cat likes tea. They're going to ask for the tea. If you haven't gotten any tea, let's have the cat say, boy, I'm really thirsty. So we'll kind of indicate that the cat is interested in having some tea. So let's play this example real quick. So I'm going to walk down here and talk to the cat. And okay, so he says, boy, I'm really thirsty. So we don't see the first option because we haven't collected any tea. So he just says, boy, I'm really thirsty, and the dialogue ends. So if our player is smart, they will go up here and say, okay, let's get some tea. So we get this tea. You can see that the Bitsy editor actually shows us the value updating here, which is nice. So we can see the current value of our tea. And so now if I go back here, we have to kind of go back through this dialogue again, which we could program it to skip that if we want to in a moment. But now we're going to see, I see you have a teacup. Can I have some tea? We don't actually have the ability in the sort of like basic vanilla version of Bitsy to actually like make choices. So there's some add-ons you can do if you want to do that, but we're going to skip over that for now. That is, that shows that. But look, if I grab another t, so now my total t amount is 2. Now he's going to say he's really thirsty because the t amount doesn't equal exactly 1. So we do have to be careful with the conditions that we create. So instead of equals exactly, which is what the double equals sign means, that is just a convention in programming. What we can say is greater than or equal to. So this way it'll work if we have 1 or more cups of tea. So we'll test that in a moment, but let's add a little bit to this. So once we start this dialog tree, now we have these 2 different options, and we can continue to add dialog based on which option is chosen. So now it gets a little tricky with the editor, because now we have this like one main dialog, but in our branch, now we have this other dialog section. And if we click on sort of the outside of this box, you can see it highlights this. And if I click add here, notice we have the exact same list of options. So from here, we can add any other new type of dialog, but it nested within this option. And the same thing with this else, we can add a bunch of other things down here. And there's still this add button down here. So it gets a little complicated. You have to make sure to, keep track of where you're adding stuff. So let's say that we want to change the item. If we are talking to the cat, we can do an item action. And what we can do is we can set the item count to a specific number. We can increase the item count. We can decrease the item count. We can say the item count. So we can have the cat say, oh, you have 2 cups of tea or whatever. And then we can do all the same things with variables. So items and variables work kind of the same. The real difference is that the item is always attached to something that we see in the scene, whereas a variable is invisible. We can just do whatever we want with that, which we'll look at in a moment. So let's decrease the item count. So what we'll do is we'll say t is going to be equal to t minus 1. And if we click on this little button here, we can actually edit with this little calculator guy, which is pretty funny. We can add variables here, we can add items, and so we can do some more complex math if we want with this stuff. I'm not going to go into this because it's just going to take up more time, but if you have a very specific math thingy that you want to do here, we could go over it. But anyway, that's pretty simple. Let's look at what that looks like in the code. So we say, it's all the way over here, item 0 minus. I guess that's it. It's pretty simple. It's kind of hard to read, so you could put this on the next line if you want to. So yeah, that's what this sort of shorthand code looks like. It's a little goofy. But it is, if you want to edit the code here, you can do that. Okay, so let's go in here now. Oh, did I delete this by accident? I think I did. How did I do that? I think, okay, somehow I deleted this. Now I can't really see. Okay, maybe when I added a line break, it deleted it. So be careful about that. Let's add that back. So we're going to go to item actions, and we're going to decrease the item count. And there we go. And now we'll just add a follow-up dialog. So let's add a little page break first, and then add a dialog. And the cat will say, boy, I love tea. Thanks. Okay. So let's test that out. So I need to grab some tea first. I'll grab a couple, and I'll go talk to the cat. And he says, hello, I'm a cat. I see you have a teacup. Can I have some tea? And now we can see he loves the tea, and our tea count has gone down to 1. So that's kind of the basic idea. There's a lot of other stuff, obviously, we can do with this. We can, use lots of different types of items. We can do all sorts of different stuff. So let's quickly go over the variable, then I'll let you guys work on stuff on your own. So let's create a variable, and what we can do is basically say a variable is basically something that's invisible. Okay, so let's imagine that we want to have different dialog options based on whether we have talked to different sprites. So let's really quickly, let's go to level 1, and just so this is like slightly realistic, I'm gonna make a new sprite. I'm gonna call this, let's do a mouse. And so I'll just draw a mouse real quick. He's gonna have like a little head and a little body and a little tail and some ears. Running out of room. Okay. There's our little mouse. And so let's put the mouse right there. And let's give him some dialogue. And so in the mouse, we'll set a variable. This is sort of like how we did our variables in Twine. So if we talk to the mouse, we'll just know that the mouse exists. And so that'll give us different options when we go back and talk to the cat. This is just one example, but you can see how you could start to build from here. So let's open our dialogue for the mouse. And we'll just have the mouse say something very simple like, I'm a mouse. I hope the cat doesn't find me. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up our inventory again, and we're gonna create a new variable. I'm gonna delete this or actually let's just edit the default. So I'm gonna say found mouse, and I'm gonna set this to false. And it seems to be okay with that. And so now I'm gonna go to item and change variable value. And so now I can edit this using this little interactive thing. Okay, maybe I just need to type. So I want to change found mouse, and I'm gonna say found mouse. Okay, maybe I chose the wrong one. Okay, so we want to set a variable value. Yeah, I don't want to change it. I want to set. Okay, so we'll just say found mouse equals true. Okay, it looks like it will only let me do numbers. I thought I could do, maybe I need to, no. Okay, let's see. Oh, here we go. So I need to open up this guy. So I'm gonna say true. Okay, found mouse equals true. Variable. Okay, I'm not getting exactly what I want out of this. Let's delete it. I'm gonna just save this and reload it. And let's see if I have better luck this time. Okay. Still have my variable here. I'm gonna set the variable value, and I'm gonna set. Okay. Okay. For some reason, it's not really letting me do what I want here. Oh, here we go. We have this little settings guy. Okay. So we want a variable, and we want it to be a Boolean. And we want it to be true. There we go. Okay, so this little settings guy is what I was looking for, not the calculator. Okay, so we want found mouse to be true. There we go. Okay, so that's all we really need here. Let's go back to our cat dialog. And so I'm gonna put this all the way at the bottom. We're gonna have another branching list here. And here we're gonna say, we're gonna add a variable. Let's see. So if, okay, for some reason it's not letting me edit this. Let's add a variable. Am I getting any errors? No. Okay. What if I delete? Okay, let's delete this. Let's add a variable. And okay, let's change our variable, found mouse, add that in, and then equals true. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, that's much better. So if found mouse equals true, the cat is going to say, you found the mouse. And else he's going to say, boy, I'm hungry. Okay. So I think that should work. So now if we talk to our cat, we're going to go through our regular dialogue. And yeah, I didn't put a page break, so he says, boy, I'm thirsty, boy, I'm hungry. Okay, so if we find the tea, then the cat will drink the tea. But if we see the mouse, then, oh, I locked the door. Whoops. Okay, let's unlock the door. We could actually have our cat unlock the door for us. But let's, okay, so that should fix that. So that's unlocked now. But yeah, maybe we could have the cat unlock the door for us. Okay, so let's go over here. Oh, wrong way. I have to go down here. I didn't even need to go in that door. Okay, so there's our mouse. Let's go talk to the mouse. It says, I'm a mouse, so I hope the cat doesn't find me. And so now I've found the mouse, and so I get to unlock this new dialogue option for the cat. Okay. So he says, you found the mouse. So that shows a pretty simple version of using our variable. It can, obviously become more complex if you have more sort of events that you want to occur in the game. And then you can use a bunch of different types of variables. I guess you can't edit that here, which is a little confusing. You have to edit that in the dialogue itself, which, let's look at that again. So if we have a variable here, or no, where did we set our variable? That's in our mouse dialog. Okay, so if we want to set a variable, we need to use this little settings guy. And so this lets us choose a variable, give the variable a name here, and then we can set different types of variables. So number is going to be kind of the default. It's just, any number. Text is if you have variables that have like a specific piece of text that go along with them. And then bool is short for Boolean, which is just true or false. So for simple decisions like did you find the mouse or did you get the key, true or false is all you really need. For other things that you might want to count, you would want to use a number. And then in some cases you might want to use text. I think for now we'll probably not need that, but if you have a specific case, we can go over that. And then with this editor, the problem I was having is I didn't delete what was here already. So if you delete this, then we can add in our variable. So we can say found underscore mouse and add a variable. You can't use spaces in the variable, so that's why I'm using the underscore. And then this yellow equals sign, that's how you set the value of the variable. That's different from the double equal sign, which is what we use to compare the variable. But if we're setting the variable, we just say equals, and then we say true. So the variable is a little bit harder to use than the item. I would use the variable only in the case where you have some hidden thing that changes through dialog. The item, in most cases, will do what you want it to do if you just need to find the item itself. All right. So that's a very, very basic overview of those two features. If you have like really specific use cases, let me know. We could go over how you might implement it. But that should be good to get started with a couple basic dialog options. Any questions on those? All right. So I'll stop the